So welcome this morning, LinkedIn Live, and I'm delighted to be able to say that we're also streaming into YouTube today and Facebook, but predominantly we wanted to stream into three areas and LinkedIn Live today to talk about what everybody's talking about this week, the fact that it's Mental Health Awareness Week. And with that, there is a huge amount on offer. With that, my dog's gone off on one. There's a huge, exactly, the good for my mental health usually, but not when she's stressed out and someone's coming towards the garden room. Anyway, so we're talking about Mental Health Awareness Week, which is everywhere, and I am delighted to welcome back today the co-creators of Soulhub, Carmen and Andrew. Good morning. How are you doing, both of you, today?
Morning, lovely. We were just saying how beautiful it is to be up so early.
Yeah.
We're not very early morning people, but today we are.
Dancing late last night, so early morning.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Great to be here.
Isn't it funny, because I coach all the time around the miracle morning and the fact that it is fantastic to get space for mums and, you know, different people in the morning. But I have to be really honest and always put my hand up and say, this isn't my best time. So while I do know that it works for so many people, authentically, it doesn't necessarily work for me, and it doesn't for you either. Anyway, so
I always say up to 20 years in corporate of having an alarm. The best thing about having your own business is you don't have to have an alarm.
Oh,
and you can let
amazing.
your body wake up naturally.
Yeah, which is what we should be doing, right? That's what our ancestors did. We shouldn't work to alarms and light bulbs and everything else. So it is much better for us. So I suppose what the first thing that we should do, I know that I obviously know you both really well, but the first thing that we should do is introduce you and introduce Soulhub. So do you want to just take a minute to describe who you are and what Soulhub is and why we're here this morning?
Yeah, sure. Shall I go?
Go on.
So we are a wellbeing community. We've been around 6 years. So we've got a lot of foundation, a lot of grounding in terms of the work that we do, but also, I guess, the practitioners that we have gathered along the way. So we're very selective about who we choose to work with, such as yourself, Carrie. So soul activists, we like to sometimes call them, but people who do amazing work and have real depth of experience working in the wellbeing industry and the wellbeing field. So we have a broad spectrum of practitioners, from psychotherapists to nutritionalists to body workers and creative coaches, and we support each other collectively, but we also work with obviously individuals and with businesses too. So we provide content and workshops and experiences and a whole bunch of different things, from the light through to the more kind of depth I guess, of well-being. So we do the light and the joy, but also kind of the more psychotherapeutic exploration of who we are and why we exist in the world. That's probably the easiest way to explain it.
I think we also dip in and touch on the more sort of spiritual aspects of life, you know, those deeper questions of, you know, why am I here? What's the purpose of life? You know, where do I put my faith? So we're not religious based. We don't follow any particular religion, but we just open up those questions for people to explore and have a place to discuss them.
Yeah, and what I think is fantastic about that is that the last 2 years have brought that to the forefront more than anything else. I think, you know, with Mental Health Awareness Week, I think that we're going to see far more people who need support and who are questioning, because actually we've come through a time where so much has been questioned, right? So much loss, so much change, so much difference, and we are not the same people, and we're definitely not in the same place that we were. So we need to come back to the heart. We need to come back to finding out what makes us tick, and who we are, why we're here is a much bigger question, isn't it? And
where's our solid ground? You know, where can we find? You know, where can we push off from? You know.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the way, Carmen, that you describe the lighter stuff as well. So I think we should talk about that, because we do have some incredible people within Soulhub. We do obviously have the therapists, the coaches, and the sort of words around therapy that people would understand. But we also have some fantastic energy workers, don't we? We have some men who are working deeply with other men who don't necessarily want to talk about their mental health. But we have some unusual workers, don't we, in Soulhub?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, right? We often talk about kind of those who may be more medically trained and that coming from more of a clinical profession, but then those who work a lot with energy. So, either energy of the land or, our own energy. And sometimes people find that a little bit difficult to comprehend. But I guess the beauty of Soulhub is almost it gives you access to those things when maybe it's not been something that you've considered before. Because we all know energy. We know what it feels like when you walk into a room, and you can go, God, it feels a bit heavy in here, or it feels light and joyful. So if we know what it feels like in our body, when you actually make the connection that how we exist in the world is all energy, everything is energy, then you wonder why we don't learn to work with that magic. So
Yeah.
some of the practitioners very much focus on that, and kind of, very much tune into our energy field, and look at what the blockages are, look at what's maybe disturbing our energy, and how they can shift that and move that, and how we can learn to work with it ourselves. So yeah, there's some wonderful work that's not always easy and tangible, right?
And I think what
Yeah.
the other thing that's really important to discuss is that a lot of, although we all kind of have our special fields, our life is so integrative. And so, Kerry, you might do food, but there's also so many other things. Or, I do dance, but there's so many other energetics that I work with. And so it's just that the fact that each of our facilitators has this very integrative approach, understands the holistic nature of life. They don't just specialize in one thing. They kind of bring in all the other factors as well.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic. And obviously, Soulhub offer, and that's why we offer the packages, right? So that people can access different people and different things. One of the things I always say to clients is, when they're struggling with something, there's always somewhere else to go. There's always something else to try, and we access well-being and health and feeling good in so many different ways, don't we? So I think that's what Soulhub brings. There's always somewhere else to go. There's always something else to try, and we do all work together as a team. We should just mention, Andrew, very quickly. Obviously, Cars, you're the soul walker, and soul walks have been incredibly popular. And I know that's something that you've been doing yesterday with St Mary's University. And so we should mention very quickly what you both do. One's the soul walker, and one is the metaphysical dancer and ex Strictly. So 2 seconds about that. I think we have to do that.
I guess, yeah. So my background is 35 years of ballroom and Latin American dancing, partner dancing. Did Strictly back in 2005, and then went through my own healing journey, burnout, depression, chronic disease, or chronic illnesses, and sort of coming out of that and really exploring all the different modalities, healing modalities. And then it kind of came around back in full circle to realize that how dance is an amazing analogy and tool box in order to learn how to deal with life. The principles of alignment and balance and timing and integration and focus and all these kind of things that we use in life is obviously a very big important part of dance. So I kind of just use my knowledge of dance to help people navigate life, and that's kind of my new frontier.
Yeah. So. Wonderfully. And if ever anybody gets the chance to go along, I go along to lots of Andrew's sessions, and he does, hopefully you'll talk about them in a minute, but lots of live sessions that are public and anyone can come along to, and they just have the most incredible vibe, and we learn to dance and do that together, and the value of that.
Yeah, you have the joyful stuff, and then if you want to go deeper, then we go deeper. So
yeah. Fantastic. Cars, the soul walker.
What do I do? I walk all day out in nature, Kerry. It's a hard job. It's funny as you were saying
tough
about
life.
I know, it's about the integrated way of working. Sometimes I was talking to somebody yesterday about how I work, and and even with clients, sometimes I think they think I've come prepared, and I never do. I almost pick up some props. I've got some. I don't bring that with me, but as an example, I bring I bring some props along, or we just use nature. And so the Richmond Park or wherever I go along the river, there's always incredible things that arrive, I guess, as we're talking about something and help us understand ourselves. So yeah, I converted from 20 years of working in corporates, and so working in brand and communications, and really kind of knew I was a bit of a square peg in a round hole in the sense of the work that I wanted to do, and finally found that actually, you know, my strength was working with people, and so I went off 10 years ago and did my counseling training, and then obviously set up Soulhub and my own private practice from there. So and it's really, you know, really is a joy to do every day. You know, I'm grateful of the variety that I have in terms of the clients, and the depth of work that people are particularly looking to do at the moment. As you said, we're kind of all asking ourselves the big questions, and you know, and that's a really real a blessing to observe that in people and work with them and allow them to kind of, you know, understand they don't need to live the life the way they're living it, you know. And everyone says, well, what's the, and you're like, it's that moment when they look at you and go, what do you mean I don't need to do that? And you're like, no, why are you doing that? You know, and you think that a self-realization, as we become more and more self-aware of ourselves, what a better existence it is for us and for those around us.
Yeah.
So.
Or I'd like to do that, but I can't. And it's like, why not? Yeah. Put it out there. Yeah. Start attracting it and let's move towards it. So let's talk a little bit about what we really wanted to focus on today, because obviously we see on LinkedIn, we see on Facebook, we see everywhere on the internet that there are paid services, and, you know, we obviously, this is how we make our living. And we hope that people can access us in a different ways. And I know I definitely have a sort of sliding scale, so people can access me in a different way. And I know that you probably do. But there are those, when we talk about mental health awareness, that are going to struggle to access anything that is paid for. And I know that you two have become acutely aware of that and wanted to do something to change that and to create a resource, a place to go, or some information, so that people who are struggling and find that financially they're challenged actually aren't left out in the cold. So do you want to tell me a bit more about that?
I guess, you know, it was inspired by our work with St. Mary's University, and just finding, you know, those other, you know, students who have low income or are financially challenged, have a place to go. And then, you know, just lots of other areas where people, you know, particularly in the current climate of all the prices going up and people are struggling financially, just having, you know, cheaper or sometimes free resources, and also immediate resources where you can literally, I mean, like, you know, whether it's, you know, 111 or these call centers, we can pick up the phone when you're about to jump, you know, in front of a train or something. Those really like fast and free resources. So we've put together a page, and we're kind of looking and hoping that people will come forward and recommend new organizations that are popping up, because we want to create a really rich and valuable resource page that people can find that fast and free resources. So yeah, that's what it is. So yeah.
So it's something, you know, something's going to keep growing. I think people are looking for it more and more, as we said, you know, and also getting, as you said, access to some of us who do offer free time, whether it's one-to-one sessions or whether it's kind of an online ceremony, or a talk. Or so Kenny Mamarella de Cruz has got some men speak groups this week. So they're incredible spaces. They're men's circles, which bring together just solely for men.
Of any age. So they do boys groups as well.
Yeah, so they do different ages. They've got a group this week for a neurodiversity for men who are struggling with neurodiversity, and then also a drop-in Regent Street on Thursday evening, from 7 o'clock. So if any men are, you know, in the area or want to make their way to Regent Street and just want to find a safe space to just talk about what's going on for them, then those spaces are there and available. And sometimes we just don't know quite how to access them. So the more and more we can build that up, then, you know, others will share what they're doing as well.
So I've got two questions there. So the first is, where can people find this resource and where can they access it? And the second is around that. Give me an example of another couple of things that might be on that. If people are going through what might they find on there? So who's it suitable for?
So firstly, it's on the Soulhub website, so www.soulhub.co.uk. As you can see just here.
And it's under our events and services page.
Okay, and we can post it here later, can't we? We can post it after this is finished underneath the live. So if people are looking for that, we can also post that here.
Yeah, and some of them are the obvious things, right? Because, even I'm sure you find as you're doing client sessions, people have not necessarily heard of even things like Overeaters Anonymous, or AA. Where do I go? So, those links are there for some of those more national services. So things like Childline, National Domestic Violence, the Samaritan. Some of them are the obvious ones, but then there's also some local resources, such as Off the Record or Young Mind. So it caters for all ages as well. So for youngsters, teenagers, and adults. So everything from alcohol addiction to domestic violence or life-threatening situations. And then also kind of being a gay is okay. So lots of tools there also for the LGBTQ plus community. And so, it's a bit of a call out as well. So if others have things that they want to share, then please do send them to us.
Yeah, wonderful. And I know that we've got together as a team as well for the website, but certainly we can post it here. And as a team, some of us have contributed and sort of given our top mental well-being tip, haven't we? So we can also post that below.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to some other really exciting news, because there's lots going on with Soulhub. We have a collaboration. Yeah, we have a collaboration, which is really exciting. I know you've done so much work in the background to get this going. Tell us about the app.
So the app is called the Feel Good Hub app. So this is a company that's created an app. They created it originally as an in-house well-being app for a large organization, and now they're rolling it out to a public platform. And essentially, it's an app where you can either join a particular group, for example, the Soulhub, have our own community within the app, or if you're an organization, you want your own personal closed well-being community, then it's something that you can contact us about, or Feel Good Hub. And there within that space, we feed in well-being content. So Soulhub has become the first partnering well-being team to create and provide the online content for that. So it's a really exciting space for us. It gives us an opportunity to share all our work through of the team, but also just create a hub, a home for online content where people can find us, and we hope it's just going to grow and grow and give us more scope to connect with more people.
So it's kind of built on the premise almost of one a day. So just trying to create a daily habit. So we give them daily kind of well-being tips that are often very simple, even just like drinking water, a reminder of the basic things, right, that we forget. So they're not hugely complicated. This week we've gone live with some tips from the team, from the Soulhub team. So we've got things like yours around journaling for a good night's sleep, how we get a good night's sleep. We've got how to have a Sunday smoothie. Sue Camper's given some fabulous nutritional tips and ingredients for a smoothie. We've got taking a micro retreat. So how do we take a moment in the day and connect just with our body and our breath, that you can do in kind of 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I did something around soul walking, so making sure that you get outside just for 10 minutes in the middle of the day, and take your mind away from the desk and from the list of jobs, never-ending jobs. And then Jules has done a piece around creating your work environment. So how important it is, particularly with lots of people working at home, and how do you create that separate space that you go to do your work. So some of them are really practical tips, some are much more esoteric and much more connected to your mind, body and spirit. And so you can choose basically whether you do that tip and follow it, or whether you just do and create your own well-being moment. And the beauty of it is it can be anything, Kerry. So it can be, that you've just had a feel-good moment with a connection with a colleague or a family member, and you can share that. So it's a beautiful social space for businesses.
It's a place where people can be inspired by others doing well-being stuff, and it's also a place to inspire others, where you share what makes you feel soulful, what makes you feel alive and well, and so we kind of it's a team effort, and then obviously it has this streak system like Duolingo. So at the top of the page, you'll see little circles, and each day you do something and you post it, then you get a little dot or a colored thing, and that builds up, and so you can kind of see how much you're actually focusing on your well-being. And then there might be some prizes or some incentives to get a couple of weeks of streaks. So we're working on that. So kind of incentivize people to get involved. But yeah, it's and the other thing that's really important for us is to create an app or an atmosphere, I'm calling it, where you feel safe. You can open up and be honest. It's a calm space. You're not being bombarded by advertisements and sort of fakeness. It's a very real space where people talk about real lives, real issues, and be really inspired. So that's the kind of ethos of the app.
Yeah, I think that's really important, Andrew, isn't it? Because, I guess people could open up on Facebook, or they could open up and do in other places. But that psychological safety is so important for us to create, isn't it? And that feels different there, doesn't it? I mean, while you said,
right?
Yeah.
Time and trust, that you have to know it feels like that before you do. So you can almost see that people come in and they kind of hover and see what's going on before they eventually share. It takes us a while to feel that in a place. So we're just holding that as much as we can, and just sharing our stuff and asking the team to share theirs. And so it's something very special.
And the other element is its history comes from a challenge base. So, Couch to 5K or that other like. So what's going to happen is we're going to slowly develop these challenges or / courses. So there'll be deeper or longer themed events. So, for example, in February, when we were creating the app, we did a 28-day soul walk. And so every day we give you a little task. So we take you on a journey of well-being. So there may be a dance challenge, there may be a meditation challenge, there may be a breath challenge or course. So we're going to be putting a lot of courses and challenges in there to inspire people, to get people involved, and then take them on a little journey and create a community as we go to share how we're getting on with our challenges and our courses.
Yeah, and I think it gives people structure. I often talk to people about, building your scaffolding when you need to get to a place where you feel better, and putting your anchors in. And I very much feel that this is a place where you can put your anchor in, build that community, fill space, and then create the habits that then form part of that scaffolding. And I think the fundamental difference that I see between this and other, because there are a wealth of well-being apps, is that there are, real people behind it. You can link into us. You can see who we are. You can talk to us. It's not just an app that is beautifully created with lots of color and functionality. Actually, you can hook into the real people behind it and what we do, and why we're there for people. So I think that's the fundamental difference with this. I don't know about you, but that's why I think it's differentiated from other because there's so much well-being, technology out there, isn't there?
Yeah. And I think, as I said at the beginning, I think one of the strengths that we have as a community is that we've been doing this work for a long time.
Yeah.
And we're all doing it because it's our passion. And we're not there just to go, right, where's the money? It's like we're doing it because we love what we do, and
we believe in it, and we walk the talk.
Yeah, we're truly here to support people. Yeah. So I should stress again, I know you said it, but I'm going to stress again that the app can either be for people just coming along one-to-one, or there is the possibility to have your own space as an organization. Yeah. So, for example, if you are, oh my goodness, I'm going to pick any, Santander, if you're Co-op, if you're whatever, if you wanted to come and approach you and say, look, actually, we love the idea and we love what you're doing, and we're going to take our own space. How would that work?
So for some people, it might be that, particularly even at the moment, right, with Mental Health Awareness Week and loneliness. So some businesses have come to us and said that, they're struggling almost with connection because of the hybrid working. So how do you bring colleagues together? And so it's a perfect tool that enables that. So it could be that people just come on it for a week, or even for a month. And they occupy that space. So the Feel Good Hub then set them up as an administrator from the organization who can coordinate all that across the business. Essentially, then they just invite everybody in, and they're all then that, you know, anyone in the organization who wants to can then join and be part of that. So it's worked brilliantly with anything from small to large organizations. It's almost like their own safe social media space.
Yeah.
Which then gets fed by the Feel Good Hub content as well as the Soulhub content. And then if they want to go, oh, I like Soulhub content, they can also join our group at a later stage. So it's quite a uniquely flexible process.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. Do they just have your content? You know, can they create their own? But you've answered the question, so that's fantastic. And the other thing that I should stress, because I think we're probably coming towards the end, was with the resource that has been created, this free resource. You are looking for people who listen to this to say, look, this is offered for free. I can do this, or I know this organization, because we are looking to grow that. So we're looking for collaborators on that too, aren't we?
Indeed, very much so.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So if anybody is listening to this today and wants to reach out to myself, Cars, Andrew, Soulhub in general, for any reason, we would love to hear from you. Please let us know your thoughts as ever. Please post them below. We will answer all your comments. You can DM any of us, and you can find us on a range of platforms. My hangout is usually on LinkedIn, but you can find Cars and Andrew other places too. Other brands apply. And please get in touch to know more. And if you are a business this week thinking, right, I'd love to do that, then we would be delighted to hear from you. Carmen and Andrew, have a fantastic day, and thank you for coming on again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Lovely
Jerry.
to see you this morning. Thanks for having us here.
Bye. Bye.